All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Learn from Home with 3Doodler. Today, we're going to make working engines, or engine models, which is a lot of fun. And we'll be going through step by step. At the end, I'll show you guys a quick video on how I made this guy, which is a 8-cylinder massive engine. It's quite a lot of fun for a longer project. So to get started, I'm using the Create Plus today. You could do this project with the Start Pen. It's a little more challenging since the material tends to be a little more flexible, but you're still fully capable of doing it. Either way, there's a bunch of fiddling as we do this. For starters, what is this? Some of you may recognize this as a V-twin engine or a 2-turbine engine. And I'm just going to quickly go over what is going on here. These are pistons, the white things that are moving up and down. And the way a traditional engine works is that you actually have a combustion happening above it, and it pushes the piston down, and then the other piston gets pushed up as a result of that, and that is what creates the rotary motion, which makes our cars move. So this is a 2-piston engine, or a V2, whereas like this is a V8 because it has 8 cylinders in it. Or you could do a V6, for example. These are all just different ways. So I'm going to be using our stencil for this project, this one here. I'm going to start by describing how to make the tubes themselves. You will need, or I recommend you need, a toilet paper tube. You could alternatively do it flat, on a flat thing, and then simply bend or twist it into place to make it, as you'll see at the end when I demonstrate with the alternative with the V8. But yeah, so I'm going to quickly show you guys some of the ways that we can make this. Going over here. Now I've covered this toilet paper roll with just some simple packing tape. And what I can do is I can go all the way around it. But the trick is that I want to leave a gap. So I simply hold the pen at a near vertical angle to the surface, wait for the material to start coming out, and you can make that tube as long as you want, depending on what you're doing. Like so. And then I'm going to make another line over here, like so. And I left a gap, and it's important that you leave a gap, and you will see in a moment. Now I'm going to go all the way around this. You want to go nice and steady. If you want, you can draw a line on the toilet paper tube beforehand, and that will help guide you. And it's hard to see, but I'm actually using a line in the plastic here. Not the most steady one, but still gets the idea across. And then I'm going to do around the top edge, and I'm holding the pen in place, and I'm simply twisting the tube at the same time. Like so. Alright, now I have all this empty space here, and I can fill this in, and you could do different patterns. For example, I was doing a spiral pattern on this one to give it a bit of a different look, or you could lay it out in strands or loop it around. Or on this black one, I simply drew directly on the surface. I'll just do a quick V kind of section so you can see it, because this is one of the most important parts, is making these tubes. Maybe you didn't turn out so well. Hold on. Hold it at a vertical angle. There we go. That's better. But you do want something connecting these pieces, the top and bottom. Give it a bit of structure. And you do want to make contact with that surface below, and it is good to have that tape there. And part of the reason we want that tape is the inside surface is going to be very smooth as a result of doing that. And you want it as smooth as possible because we have this piston traveling up and down inside it. So this was a very quick one, just to kind of get the idea across. Maybe I'll just do a little line in the middle, add a little more structure. And then we wait a few seconds, and then we simply can peel this off once it's fully hardened. Yank it off like so. And what I can do now is I can hold those two pieces together and simply add some material at a few spots to join it. And don't forget, you want it to be flush, so we're meeting those points. We're not overlapping on this one. On the inner one, we might overlap. There we go. So now I have a cylinder. Now, if you take your time, I like this one. I did a much better job to make that inner cylinder. You can also make the piston piece as well, the intersection of it, through the same method by drawing on top. Or you can do it in flat and then join those pieces together. If you're going to do it using the tube, though, just remember that you want it to be, you want to have a bigger gap here than you do with the piston, because when you put this together, you want it to be smaller so that it fits inside. Now we can also size this. One of the beauties of not putting this together until we've actually assembled it is that we can then pick how big we want it to be. So, back to slides. So now we made some pistons, or some chambers. Next up, we're going to make the crankshaft, the piece that moves it up and down. I've already doodled most of the pieces for this. Now on the stencil, we originally have it as this kind of shape here, because that's traditionally what they look like. You don't have to follow that. What's really important is that you have those two holes and that they're at a good distance. So I just happen to make them like this, and then that way you have more clearance on the intersection. You can see here that if I made them if you make them too long, you're going to bump into your wall, and that's going to prevent you from actually being able to make a moving thing. That's part of that futzing that sometimes you have to do when you do these projects. But I am now going to take these pieces and assemble together what we need to do. So back over here. Now I'm not going to switch, so you'll forgive me, but I'll be using black for some of this section. So first things first, let's lay out our pieces. We have the crankshaft left and right piece. We have the inner walls. Now I need a bar in between them. And the size of your crankshaft should be determined by kind of how wide you want it to be. So I'm just going to make it like that big. Yeah, that's perfect. And it's really simple in that, first and foremost, make sure you stick the pieces through. And if you're having trouble, like when you doodle these pieces, I'll show you in a minute, if they're too small, you can always take the tip of the pen, push it through a little bit on both sides. That'll heat it up, and then that'll give you time to stick it in like so. So, now that I have that in there, I'm going to take one of my sidewall pieces. I try to use the smooth side facing in to reduce issues of friction later. Find a piece that can fit easily. I do want a bit of friction on that because now I'm going to doodle this on here. Wait a moment. There we go. So I'm going to put a cap on it like so. I'm using PLA. It is hot, but it's not insanely hot after about a second or so. Now I'm also going to add a little bit of material. So I'm going to take these off. A little bit of material, just a dot in the inside section to make sure it's nice and secure. We want it to be a stronghold. Now we can put these pieces on. Oh, let me wait a second for it to fully harden. I'm just going to blow on it. I'll help it harden faster. And then once again, I'm taking these shafts here, and I'm trying to do the smooth side facing each other. So this will help to reduce as much friction as possible. And then I'm going to take this piece the other side of it and simply, oh, see, it's a little too big, a little too small, excuse me. Just stick the tip in, so, and then I want to try and match them up. And we'll just wait a second. You see that? Oh, you cannot see that. I just want to make sure it's nice and secure. Alright, now I'm going to need another strand piece. And this is to make the handles, if you will, the pieces that are sticking out the side. So I'm simply going to cut these, and it's okay if you cut these a little long, because we can always trim them later. About the same length. Scissors or pliers will work for this. So now this is secured. And this time, I'm going to take this tip. There we go. And you may be wondering, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? The crankshaft has to rotate, and in order to rotate and move those pieces, we have to have clearance. So that's why I'm not just sticking it all the way through. I'm going to add material on the side, and then I'm just going to pull it down. You want to try and get it reasonably straight and reasonably flush. I'm going to take that pen tip. Oops. I didn't mean to click that. And just kind of smooth it out a bit. Alright. Once again, I'm going to wait a few seconds for it to fully harden. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Second. Simply stick the tip in. So. You see there's a bunch of questions, which I'll try and get to. Just a minute. Alright, now I'm going to need some material. I'll wait again. Alright, so now that that has been completed, oh, I didn't even think. I apologize for doing this in white and then realizing that it may be harder to see. Back to slides. Now we can talk about constructing the actual inner piece for it. So I had done this earlier, and then I had done a white top for it. Once again, I'm just going to use black. You just have to remember to size it correctly. So I stick it in this cylinder. I want some clearances. I want it to be smooth, but I don't want it to be too free. So it looks like I need to just about do it like so. I'll line those up. Make sure you don't burn yourself while doing this. Right there, we're going to get some material coming. And on the edge there. Aha. You can always get the sides as well. You just want to make sure. Are we okay? Yes, look at that. Nice and clear. Good clearance. So, now I'm going to put the cap on it. To do that, I'm simply going to put the cap down. And I'm going to do a couple spots on the inner edge to attach it. And then this will be a lot easier now that there's attached pieces. Now I can actually hold it and fill in the gaps, so to speak. And just remember that that edge is really important, that you don't want too much sticking out over the edge because you don't want to create interference. Good. And so like this edge is kind of sticking over, so I'm just going to take the tip of the pen, kind of smooth it over, and that'll help it to prevent from getting caught on the tube. Yeah. So now we need centerpiece. Okay, like so. Snap that. Do need to put that in there. Put that up. Alright, so now this needs to go inside of here. To do that, because I'm using PLA, I have the advantage of around 5 seconds before the material hardens. So I'm going to put a big glob of material on that edge there. And then I have to quickly stick it in. And then I need to wait that 5 seconds for that material to harden. I'm just going to hold it, and I'm trying to hold it at a flat angle. Like so. I'm going to wait a few seconds for that to fully harden. You know it's fully hardened because it won't move around. It'll be stable. Just wait. You can always give it a quick blow. Yeah, see, now it's wiggling less and less. Alright, so now I can take this and I can simply draw the other connection. Like so. And once again, I'm going to wait a few seconds for that to harden, but essentially your crankshaft section has been completed. So wait, we just connected those. Step 3. Step 4, the assembly. This is one of my favorite parts. So I have all those pieces that we got from the stencil that I already drew out. And we can simply put these together. I already did this part of crankshaft. Now I'm going to do this guy here. So I'll just move this over a little bit. With you. You can just simply put a couple dots in different sections. Obviously, it depends on the pattern that you're using. I chose a grid-like pattern, partially so that we can see what's going on inside the engine, because that's the whole fun of it. But if you wanted, you could do a solid one, or you could do a PLA and then bake the PLA, like a clear PLA and then bake the clear PLA. So I just hit a couple sections. Now I have those 2 pieces, and I have these pieces on my bottom part. I do my bottom part. Once again, I'm using the smooth sides facing in just to help reduce as much friction as possible. Just gonna put a dab of material along the edge here. And then I'm gonna hold it in place, like so. I'm gonna wait a second or 2. Awesome. And the reason I do that is so I can then do the rest of it. So. It's hard to see with my hands in the way. Oop. Out of place. Another strand or 2. There we go. So do along the edge. I just want to go in sections basically to get it to bend properly without bending the rest of it. So now I'm just going to do the curved part. Straighten up a little. Make sure you just kind of hold it there for a second or 2. Alright. Oh, I did a mistake. I apologize, everyone. I was meant to put these in before I did it, but that's okay. I'm just going to open this up a little bit so we can squeeze it in. Put that one in there. Good clearance. Now you notice that actually as I'm trying to push this up and down, it's like moving around a lot. So what I often do when I'm making these engines is I'll put little stoppers on the inner piece here. So this is part of that futzing. So now that this can't travel as far in the other direction, I'll put one on the other side. You want a little movement, so you don't want to just completely restrict it, but that will help significantly. And the other one. Squeeze. There we go. So those are in. And now I can place this piece. So now I'm gonna do this last top right here. Put it in the cylinder. Put it on the shaft. Nope, just need to open up just a little bit. Once again, just gonna hold on the edge. So just pinching it. And I'm obviously rushing, but if you were to take the time, you can do this. Nice and slow. So do dot there. Wait a few seconds for it to harden. And then we do a dot over here. And now just gonna bend this, hold it in place basically. And you could also make the cage before you put in those other pieces, which depends on the length. Wait, don't hit your fingers. There we go. And squeeze that together. Do the same thing over here. All right, almost done. Now we just have to doodle these last two pieces. So they're facing the right way, like so. So I'm going to start by doodling this angle, basically the right angle. And we'll give it some nice rigidity. Wait a moment for that to harden. And then these side pieces. And if you have a gap like that, let's just fill it in. This edge. Now you'd want to do all the edges. I'm just going to do one edge because I want to show you guys the output of it. And let's see. Oh. Hold on, we have to do the other edge. Now we have a working engine. So go back. Pretty neat, huh? So why not stop there? You could make a single cylinder, or you could make, as I did here, this crazy 8-cylinder engine. That stencil is available online. Just gonna show you guys. I did want to bring up that we have a Learn from Home kit available for both the Start and the Create Plus, currently available on our website. And we are doing a contest to win a Create Plus today. Make an engine. You could try and make an engine. If you have a pen, you can make an engine with a pen. If you don't have a 3-doodler, you could try and make an engine using cardboard or some other materials. Take a picture, tweet us, or hashtag us at 3doodler, or hashtag 3doodler, or hashtag the 3doodler, and then we'll announce the winner tomorrow on social. Don't forget there's an app that you can download and use. You can use the app directly on the phone with the Start pen. With the Create Plus, which is hot, you want to use the doodle pad. Go on top. Yeah, I'll show you guys just quickly the project that I did with this one, whilst I look through questions to see what questions. Oh, we do have someone answering questions. Oh, fabulous. Are there any outstanding questions that we missed? Whoever was answering questions, thank you very much. Wow, how about that? So you can kind of quickly see through this video the steps that are required to make such a bigger project, is that you just need a lot more of those pieces, but the basic concept behind it is very similar. It does take a significant amount more time. You'll also notice that I didn't use a cardboard tube on that one. Instead, I simply bent the pieces. We'll hit that in a second. And you do want to watch out. So for example, I didn't do the intersection here, and that makes it not as rigid. So I should actually have done pieces for the intersection to make that. But there you go. Here's all the pieces laid out, which then get put together basically through the same method that you saw me doing here, just on a larger scale. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining today. And appreciate it. We have that video also available on YouTube, so if you do want to see it, you're more than welcome to get it that way. And be sure to enter the giveaway. And please feel free to leave comments or suggestions for future doodles. Thanks.